Hello, and welcome to my iMovie presentation for module QXL 3363, Language, Culture and Power. In this presentation, I am going to focus on a particular aspect covered in one of my lectures, and that said aspect is the relationship between class and language within society. To start with though, it is important to note that language is in a constant state of flux and changing constantly, so it is impossible to fully define linguistic differences as they will probably change within the future. However, one thing that won't change is the very nature of language, which is, as Ferdinand de Saussure stated, to be used as a tool. It is an idea packaged by the speaker and presented to the receiver, who unpacks it and deciphers it in their own way. This is a tool because if the speaker wants something specific, then they will package their idea differently depending on who the receiver is, or even package an idea aimed at a different type of receiver, but more of that in a minute. The theory that different speakers of languages each perceive and register the world differently is called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, and means that each of those ideas packaged by the speaker will mean something different to specific receivers. So the speaker must package these ideas with language, constantly bearing in mind who they're talking to. Each person falls into a specific group, or as it's also known, a community of practice. A community of practice is a group of people with their own linguistic traits, and said groups can be hard to break into. One quote explaining the community of practice states, "To belong to an ethnic group means possessing a common descent, cultural heritage, religion, language and a distinctive history and destiny, and to feel a sense of collective uniqueness and solidarity." Class is one of these communities of practice, as depending on the class of the speaker or receiver, there will be many different meanings, phrases or even words. As Peter Trudgill rightfully acknowledged regarding Britain, where people are from is very important to them. This may be because the accent of an individual is a clue to their heritage and also to their background. Communities of practice are present in every linguistic variety. As William Foley stated, you can use linguistic measures to analyse social groups, including politeness, language and gender, genre, linguistic engineering and literacy, and social roles. From analysing these groups, key themes within a community of practice emerge, allowing us to understand the inner workings of the language group, and thus use language as a tool to break into it. This can especially be seen in advertising or broadcasting, where one group of people will aim a product at another, and use their language trait to make it seem more homely or genuine, with the aim to sell many more products. For any example of this, all you have to do is look at any product claiming to be northern and wait for the child in the advert to say, "Hey up." The aim for advertisers, however, is to make an advert seem genuine, as years of class and cultural differences have left, as Crowley states, the British with a legacy of extreme sensitivity to linguistic and social differences. To avoid these social and linguistic taboos and help break these groups down, there is the potential to use standard. This is often the governmentally chosen language. However, to again quote Crowley's readings, rather than the simple division between dialect and standard English, which had previously been used, Wilde devises the terms regional dialect, class dialect, modified standard, and received standard. What this means is that although there is a standard language in English, it will never replace a dialect. However, as Trudgill and Anderson state in regards to changing dialects, in our society, however, many people are under considerable pressure to do so. This is a necessity for anybody trying to make their way into a professional workplace and command any type of respect. This truth is, as commented on by Trudgill and Anderson, not dissimilar to racial and sexual prejudice. Despite acknowledging this as wrong, it is still a truth, as it is one of life's and language's ugly truths. It is the job of teachers to fight this dialect war, and to try to abolish as much of a regionalised or class accent as much as possible. To conclude the argument, Trudgill and Anderson agree that we do not want children to leave school only to suffer as cannon fodder in the job market. A person's accent is often noted as posh or common by speakers, and applied to these labels are stereotypes regarding education. It is because of this that working class linguistic traits are shunned and hidden in favour of middle or upper class linguistic traits to aid with employment potential. An individual's register can affect their professional potential no ends. There is no utter segregation, however, as unlike race or gender, class distinction can be changed and register changed in order to achieve the desired end results. So it may become apparent to you at this point that there are many more benefits to being of the middle class or upper class linguistically. However, in terms of language change, it all starts with the working classes. New words enter your vocabulary all the time in the forms of new products such as Google, Tesco, Argos, etc., etc. And these often stay as long as the company or product does. Nobody uses Woolworths anymore. Other new words, however, start at the working classes and spread quickly throughout the class. These new words often burn brightly and fade away, only to be quickly replaced by the word of the moment, unless the word can somehow make its way into the media working middle classes who immortalise words. Words such as chav and omnishambles. It is only once the word makes its way into this middle class that it sticks in the vocabulary of a nation or society. Labov gave a term for dialects that had been split into groups, specifically one towards class, entitled sociolects. He also worked towards defining high prestige and low prestige varieties, which involving assigning certain speech habits positive or negative values, which are then applied to the speaker. It is important to note that working class speakers often stick to their own way of speaking. It is the middle classes who try to rise above such linguistic traits and speak closer to standard English. The upper classes, however, in an attempt to seem more social and less different, are more likely to avoid speaking in standard, as it apparently makes them men or women of the people. This is in direct disagreement to a statement written by Ross, who considers, as Crowley puts it, considers how the upper class seeks to distinguish itself linguistically in British society. In conclusion, there are major distinctions between the class of an individual and their linguistic traits. Linguistically, class can be seen as the same as race, gender, or sexuality, and those who are seen to be different can be treated with prejudices just the same. It is because of this that there is so much movement within class and language, with working classes and middle classes changing how they speak along with the upper classes to achieve their own ends. Class and language can also be manipulated like a tool. It is by the speaker in the form of advertising products or breaking into other communities of practice. And finally, language change is dependent on the class system for new words, as without the working classes they wouldn't exist in such numbers, and without the middle classes they wouldn't stick at all. In short, class is an ugly truth linguistically, and something that is used and manipulated by everyone. It is, however, essential. Brilliant. Thank you for watching my video presentation on class and its relationship within linguistics. For a full bibliography, please refer to the slide. Thank you.